各位观众，大家好。我们下午的开幕式呢，马上就要开始举行了。那所以我们的这个亚洲杯 Supermoto 的这个各路好手呢，目前现在已经聚集在我们的起跑线的拱门的这个位置了。那配合这次开幕式，我们也会进行这个现场的直播。
Well, welcome back to the live streaming of this third round of the FIM Asia Supermoto Championship here at CHANGHUA in Taiwan. A very historic occasion. It's the first international motorcycle event in Taiwan. And as a mark of respect, please be upstanding for the national anthem of Taiwan. Well, a fine rendition of the national anthem of Taiwan. All the formalities are over as we get ready for the action to explode here. All the dignitaries are ready for their photo to be taken. And while that's happening, we might go back and have a word with our top 3 qualifiers to see how they feel about this race. 20 minutes plus 2 laps for the first leg of the 3rd round of the FIM Asia Supermoto Championships here at CHANGHUA in Taiwan. And then the action is about to explode. These guys are ready. They'll get 2 warm-up laps when the festivities are over, and then the action will commence in this very historic occasion as we welcome international motorcycle racing to Taiwan for the very first time. Let's go down to the grid and we'll have a chat with a couple of the riders. And the photos are taken, and let's go and have a chat to our top 3. In 3rd spot on the grid, Corey Zakaria. Corey, how are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm feeling good today. Hopefully I can do better for Moto 1 for Malaysia.
And very good qualifying?
Yeah, so far for now okay. But
No.
I try my best for Moto 1.
Okay, good luck.
Okay.
And we move on to 2nd on the grid after the winning comes back. Trikorn Tantong, very good qualifying for you. You found something in that Super Chrono.
Yes, feeling very good. Better yesterday. Today I will do my best.
You did some good jumps this morning.
Yes,
Triple.
triple. Yeah. So I touched some lap.
Feeling confident?
But I think it, not different. Yes.
Chokti Cup.
โชคดีครับ ขอบคุณครับ
And we move on to the fastest man that everybody's been chasing. 4 wins out of 4 starts. He's going for 5 on the trot to take a stranglehold on this FIM Asia Supermoto. Lewis Cornish, how are you feeling?
You know, I'm feeling good. Qualifying and practice and everything so far has gone really well. The bike's working great and I'm really enjoying the track. So yeah, I'm having a great weekend so far.
Yeah, well, you seem to be enjoying the track. You seem to be smashing every lap out and getting quicker and quicker. Were you surprised at the times you've been doing?
To be honest with you, yeah, like yesterday I put in a 107.2 and I didn't really think anyone would get into the 106s. So yeah, to get down into the low 106s today was a big shock to me. But you know, Trakan and Harry are making it very difficult for me. So you know, that's never gifted to me. These guys are always pushing me all the way to the finish. So it should be a good race.
And probably the best conditions we've seen all year for actual racing, isn't it?
Oh yeah, for sure. You know, the temperature's a bit more reasonable for a change, and humidity doesn't feel too bad. And obviously, yeah, the track is by far the best track we've raced on this year.
And just finally, how important is the start around this 1.2 kilometre track?
As always, the start's massively important, but probably less so with this track. You know, there's a few more passing places, and yeah, you know, there's 25 minutes to make it happen. So if I don't get a good start, I'm just going to hang in there and see what I can do later on in the race.
All right, mate, all the best to make it 5 from 5.
Thank you, buddy. That's the plan.
No worries. As we get ready, I'll hand over back to Barry in the commentary booth and join you very shortly as we get ready for the action to explode in the 3rd round of the FIM Asia Supermoto Championship here at CHANGHUA in Taiwan.
Supermoto Championship here in CHANGHUA in Taiwan.
Thank you, Braxy. We're back and live for round 3 of the FIM Asia Supermoto Championship 2017. We're at the K1 circuit in CHANGHUA, Taiwan. It's about halfway down the west coast of Taiwan, the industrialized west coast of Taiwan. The rest of the island is very beautiful and forested. The riders have just lined up for the opening ceremony. We've heard the national anthem. and then they'll commence 2 warm-up laps and form up for the starting grid. All through the weekend so far, we've seen a fairly familiar pattern with Lewis Cornish leading the way, although what we saw in Superchrono was Trakan Tangtong getting very close to him. Welcome back to the studio, Braxy.
The formalities are over, and that's about to explode, isn't it, Barry? And you can actually tell that their nerves are building up there, and it's the same as any race meeting. This is an international event, but what an occasion for the people and everybody in Taiwan that were here for the first international motorcycle race ever held in this beautiful country of Taiwan.
Yes, indeed. It's the, as you say, it's the first time we've had an international motorcycle race in Taiwan. So it's a very important milestone, and I've been talking to the head of the FIM affiliate here, the CTSMA, and he was very instrumental in making this happen and reaching this this vital milestone for the development of motorcycle racing in Thailand. So congratulations to all those guys for making this happen. We've got a busy crowd here. There's lots of food stalls. There's lots of people selling tools and food and drink. And now starting the first of the 2 warm-up laps. After which we'll see the grid form up. Lewis Cornish, as we know, on pole position. He did a 106.2 this morning. He was chased throughout the session by the Thai rider Trakan Tangtong, 2015 champion, and he got within 0.7 of a second of Lewis's best time.
106.945, and the man that well, many Malaysians will be hoping to fly the flag proudly in the absence of Gabit Saleh there in third. Kari Zakaria there with a 107.6, and I'm sure, as we all know, Baz, when the lights go out and the flag drops, everything really starts, and it's up to Cornish to get that good start that he anticipates and try and make that early running and let them give chase, because I'm sure if the start doesn't go his way and the other guys get in front, they're going to make it very hard for him to try and get to the front.
Yeah, well, indeed. And if Lewis does get the whole shot, we know that he's faster than everybody else by a significant margin through that first sector, so he could well make his escape if nobody gets in his way into turn 1. So we'll see as they come round this warm-up lap. If it follows the previous pattern, we'll see 2 warm-up laps, but it looks like they're going to form up this time around.
I'm surprised that they were going to do the 2 warm-up laps, but obviously not. The officials decide to get under the way. The crowd's been waiting long enough, either on the live streaming here on the FIM Asia Supermoto Facebook page, the YouTube channel, and also on 23.tv as well. So there's plenty of places to look and see at this as we go through the grid. In pole position, Lewis Cornish from England, followed by Trakan Tangtong, the 2015 champion, in second position, and Kari Zakaria there in third on bike number 32.
And row 2, we've got Naoto Takayama, the Japanese rider. In the middle of the second row, we've got number 5, Hasroy Osman. On the outside, Takashi Sasaki, another Japanese rider.
And then we got Li Wei Ching in position number 7 from Taiwan, flying the flag for the locals. Then it's the Indonesian Pedro Wuna and another Taiwanese man, Lin Chin Pei, rounding out the third row.
And row 4, we've got Sun Tong from from Taiwan. We've got Sang Wei Kei from Hong Kong, and another Taiwanese rider on the outside of row 4, Lin
Chu Ying. And then rounding out the field, another one of the Taiwanese locals, Cheng Pang Pang, who's probably facing the biggest start and the biggest race of his life, as Lewis Cornish, gives the old, it's pretty cool there, the Hawaiian signal, and gives the Husqvarna a bit of a throttle, let it know that it's got something to do now, that it's all action stations.
Yeah, you could see from the grid and from you talking to them on the grid, Braxy, these guys are ready and raring to go. They've been in town for a couple of days, and now it's business time. So we look now at Thai rider Trakan Tangtong. He was very fast in the dirt sections, as was Kari Zakaria. He's pumped and ready to go.
Yeah, he certainly is, and well, he's on it. And any one of these three at the front, well, anyone can win a race. That's natural. It's just the vacancies of motor racing. That doesn't matter where you are on the grid. When you start the race, you got a chance of some form of success.
Yeah, and the other two men on the front row, Trecarn and Zakaria, they know very well how fast Lewis is through that first sector and how important it's going to be to somehow prevent his escape in those first few moves of this first moto.
Well, we know that Lewis Cornish is well and truly the odds-on favourite, but Barry Russell, who do you think's got an outside chance? I know we've been talking about the top three of Trecarn and Zakaria. Who do you think of those pair have got the chance of unsettling Cornish?
I think later in the race we've seen both those riders come stronger. I think Kairi Zakaria may come through stronger by the end of the 20 minutes. It's a very good workout, 20 minutes plus 2 laps. But they're all in good shape. They know how competitive this series is. They know how difficult it is to catch the tall Englishman sitting there on pole position, Lewis Cornish.
Now they're beginning a bit nerved at the moment. I believe they might be sending him out on another warm-up lap. The tyres will be getting cool. I might be wrong in that regard. No, they are going out on another warm-up lap. That's great to see that they're getting a chance to warm the tyres up. Because as the nerves are building in a situation like this, the temperature of the tyres is dropping, and it's all important to have confidence in your tyres from the very outset so that you can push hard from the start and be comfortable in the fact that the tyres are up to somewhat of a reasonable operating temperature, and that they can push hard. And the other one we might have a chance as well. He's a bit off the pace by just, not too much, but Naoto Takayama, the Japanese guy who's been doing lap after lap, he's been the marathon man of these 2 practice sessions, the warm-up and the qualifying session, and as well as the Supermoto session, Super Chrono session we saw earlier on.
Yeah, and of course Takayama competes in the Taiwanese Supermoto Championship, so he does have experience of this circuit. And he set his best time of the weekend in Super Chrono. As the times come down, you're talking with Lewis on the grid. I also note that very strong wind that was blowing in their faces as they came onto the home straight, that's much, there's very little breeze today, so that could have made a difference too.
And that's also made sure there's their 2 warm-up laps coming up, so that's good that they're giving him all that time. But yeah, the amount of dust that was lingering in the air there on that dirt section, that could be critical later on when it's a bit hard to see, when the slower riders might be having an effect on these guys. And I noticed, I suppose I've had every opportunity to have a look at Lewis Cornish's line, but these guys are very close to him just because Lewis is going to be going through his race lines at the moment. So they'll be having a look and see where he's doing, and he might have even been practicing the triple, and also to get good drive off that berm and to come along that short final dirt section there over that big jump.
Yeah, so far we know Trecarn's the only rider that's has actually done that triple. Lewis Cornish realises that that's the trump card that Trecarn's got up his sleeve if he needs it, and he knows he might have to push a bit harder and make the triple himself if things get tight during this race.
Yeah, as they now slow it down a little bit, as they slow it down, the nerves, doesn't matter who you are or how many times you've been facing the grid, it's always the nerves at the start.
Yeah,
and the quicker they get the start going, the quicker the nerves build, and they can put their focus into what they've been doing for many, many years of racing, is get the race underway and settle into a groove as quickly as they can without getting too out of shape, and let the rest of them give chase. They all want to get that whole shot. As Lewis grabs the front end, pull their bike down. They've got launch controls on these motorcycles these days to help them get off the grid, but also they actually lock the forks down to keep the front end down a bit, because once the front wheel starts to lift off the ground, then you're losing time and momentum to get off it.
Absolutely right. So they need to make sure those forks are pushed down and the tyres are warm enough, because they're Trecarn and Zakaria from the front row. They're going to need to pull out all the stops through the first turn if they're going to get close to Lewis Cornish at the start of this first moto.
Now the red flag's up, the green flag's out at the back. Thanks to Malaysia Major Events and Asia Super Sports Group, this third round of the FIM Asia Supermoto Championship here at CHANGHUA in Taiwan is set to explode. The riders now be thinking, hang on, let's get this red flag off, let's the red building. As they get ready to go, there's a bit of a lull at the moment.
Yeah. Not quite sure what's going on there. We need that, the man with the red flag to move out of the way.
Yeah, they're having a bit of trouble with the lights. The lights will go on. That was what delayed the start of this somewhat. Lights are on. We're racing in the third round of the FIM Asia Supermoto Championship, and Cornish gets a bolter off the line to lead through turn one, and the rest of them give chase at the moment. And already we told you that how fast he was through this first split. He's already set up a lead of about 6 bike lengths. He knows what he has to do. He's got to maintain this rage and keep them going and break their spirit early in the race as he hits the dirt section for the first time, and a big launch off the berm and through these whoopties, and see if he does manage. Oh, he does try for the double and the triple and pulls it off at his first attempt.
Yeah, I think that was in his plan. He's even showboating a little bit over that first jump on the first lap. So that's a display of confidence if ever you wanted to see one.
And hasn't he got some launch on the gearing getting out?
Yeah, but let's watch Trakan now, who's in second place, because he's been faster than Lewis through the other sections.
He's there, but look at the torque of Lewis's Husky, the 510 as it gets out of the gate.
Yeah, it's the torque and the way he's positioning the bike and getting the power down.
Yeah, Trakan seems to close up under brakes, but as he backs it into turn one, lap number one of this 20-minute moto plus 2 laps. Can Cornish make it 5 wins from 5 starts? He's certainly started off in the perfect way.
Yeah, the usual game plan we've become used to from Lewis Cornish is for him to go absolutely flat out for the first 5 or 6 laps, and then get to a more sustainable race pace and manage his lead.
And he's crashed. He's put it into the berm, and Trakan's gone into it. I was just about to say overconfidence can be the worst thing when you said he was starting a showboat. But Trakan Tatong, the 2015 champion, has moved into the lead. Where's Cornish? He'll have to get back on the bike. He's got to ride the race of his life at the moment if he's going to take this win. Third place, Zakaria there. In second place now, moving up. Where is Lewis Cornish? But he just buried that Husky into the berm.
That's blown this race wide open, and it's the Thai 2015 champion, Trakan Tatong, in the lead. Just going smoothly through that section.
He must have thought he just won the lottery, Trakan, as he's come through there, and that was the second time that Lewis Cornish had tried that triple. Maybe just a bit too quick going over the final jump, and try to bury it into the berm and get some good acceleration out. But we'll have to see where the Lewis Cornish, the leader of this FIM Asia Supermoto Championship, back in 4th position, 5.2 seconds away, but he's not too far off, Barry.
Okay, so now we'll see the young Thai rider. We'll see what he can do. He's a very experienced rider. He's won a lot of championships in his home country of Thailand, and he knows how to lead a race. He's going to keep it fast and smooth as we wait to see where Lewis Cornish is. Kari Zakaria, he's going to be encouraged by that mistake by Lewis Cornish, and he's a great rival, of course, of Trakan Tatong, and he's the sole Malaysian representative in the absence of Gabit Saleh for this round as he recovers from injury. Beautiful smooth riding as they come onto the home straight for the 3rd time.
Now he's just got to keep his cool, Trakan. Like Barry said, he's won plenty of championships in the past, but now he's been gifted this lead at the moment. Just when we were wondering how far Lewis could stretch his lead, there we go. His best time of 1 minute 7.585 as they settle into this race. There's just on 6 minutes gone, 5 minutes gone of this one, 15 minutes to go plus 2 laps. And I can see that he's still doing the triple, is Trakan. He's quite confident there. Just looking to see where Cornish is. 12 seconds adrift at the moment.
Yeah,
that is a monumental distance.
Yeah, it is, but it's just about doable for him to overhaul the leaders based on the pace we've seen him doing in free practice and qualifying. But these lads at the front, they're not going to want to let him through. They're not going to make it easy for him. And they're going to build as much of a lead as they possibly can, while Lewis is tackling Naoto Takayama and any of the back markers that, of course, that they're going to encounter during the course of this 20-minute plus 2-lap first moto.
And Trakhan looking very smooth in all sections of the track at the moment. And he's got clear track in front of him at the moment. He's come through turn 2 up to turn 3. This hairpin that brings him back down. Very critical part that Lewis Cornish is by far the fastest through this first split. There he is on screen. No, that's not him at the moment. We're looking for bike number 8 back in 4th position. 11 seconds he's got under 12 seconds. He's got 11.8. And Trakhan with a 1.3 second lead, as you see on screen, over Zakaria from Malaysia.
Yeah, I think we can expect Lewis Cornish to probably outpace the leaders by about a second a lap, which is going to bring this this battle for the lead very close by the end of this race.
And Cornish would be absolutely filthy on himself at the moment that he's managed, after all weekend having a faultless display of riding, in the 3rd lap to actually bury the bike into that berm and fall off. And it was one of the slowest crashes you could imagine, but he lost all that momentum and let 3 riders in front of him, as we already see that the Taiwanese wildcard riders are coming under threat.
Yeah, that's true. The first man to be lapped, number 910, he's one of the competitors in the elite class of the Taiwanese Supermoto Championship. So the men with the blue flags are going to be busy.
Very much so. Hopefully they're getting good directions from race control, which has been right on the case all weekend.
Yeah.
And they negotiate through just a big blip of the throttle to get by, as we look back to see what the distance is now from Lewis Cornish back to our leader, Trakhan Tantong, pardon me, our 2015 FIM Asia Supermoto champion.
Yeah, faultless jumps by the first 2, Trakhan Tantong and Kairi Zakaria.
And Zakaria there getting a bit of a wobble as he hit the bitumen section. It's been coated with a fine film of dust.
Exactly what you said was going to happen later in this moto, and we're only on I think we're on lap 5 now.
And Cornish only 11.5. He's only taken half a second out of their lead in the last 3 laps there.
Yeah, I thought he was going to close the gap faster than that, but he's not on screen, so he can't see what's slowing him down. It could even be a problem with the bike after that crash, of course.
Yeah, or maybe been a brake lever or another lever, or even his gear change lever on the left-hand side. He might have done something to the gearbox as because he went into that berm really hard, didn't he?
Yeah,
he would have compressed the suspension, and he wouldn't have. Well, definitely wasn't ready for it because the front end just was stopped.
Yeah, and he's got himself into 3rd place now, but I do suspect there's a mechanical problem with his bike.
Well, we'll see, or it's just that the don't take anything away from our leaders that are right on the pipe at the moment as they go on the charge and getting that hang time there. And we'll see there's a back marker there getting well out of the way. The blue flags, marshals here in Taiwan superbly doing their job, considering they've never been at an international event before, but it shows the quality of what the CTMSA train these guys to do.
Yeah, indeed, it was none other than the president of the CTSMA, Dr. Young, who was giving the marshals their briefing before the action got underway this morning.
So Cornish on the charge. He's got clear track in front of him. He's not 3rd in the AMA Championship for nothing. It'll be great to see the GoPro footage on his lid after the race to see what he actually said, because they do have microphones, those cameras, so I'm sure the won't be for a family show that whatsoever.
No, that's right. I think he's the only rider, certainly the only one of the leading riders wearing a helmet cam.
So he's managed to gap Naoto, the Japanese rider, by 4 seconds at the moment. And he's pulled that back now to do the doubles. He thought, well, I got a bit overexcited there in that first one. He saw that Trakhan did the triple and he thought, well, if he can do it, I can do it too, because Trakhan took a 1.5 seconds off his qualifying time to his super chrono time that Lewis was very interested to see during the lunch break.
Yeah, he was, and he was preparing himself psychologically to do that triple. I think when he crashed, he probably just came off it, as you said, Braxy, came off that a little bit too fast into that berm at the end. But Trakhan doing a great job, of the lead. He's stretched his lead out now to almost 3 seconds. As Lewis Cornish comes over the line to complete lap 8.
So Cornish did a 107.2 a couple of the previous lap. It'd be interesting to see what Trakan is doing at the front of the field. As Bazza said, a 2.8 lead over Cornish, over Zakaria there in second position, who in turn has got a 7.6 second lead over Lewis in third. And just seeing if he's just sticking to that. Oh, we know he tried the Triple M again, so he's getting a bit of confidence and just really gets the rooster tail going there as he puts the power down into the Husky to drive out of that berm now onto the bitumen go-kart track circuit proper.
Yeah, so that crash hasn't dented Lewis Cornish's confidence at all, nor would you expect it to. He's got 10 years experience. He's a world championship level rider in Supermoto. And
just then a 107.3 for Trakan. So Lewis Cornish only a 1/10 of a second quicker on track. Well, Cornish down to a 66.7. That's half a second quicker.
So that's a good qualifying time, and we've got 8 minutes and 15 seconds left before the flag come out for the final 2 laps.
Now the other thing to bear in mind, Barry Russell, is the fact that there's Lewis Cornish. He's had a pretty comprehensive domination of the FIM Asia Supermoto Championship this year with the 4 wins from 4 starts. Does he settle into third spot and consolidate and think about the championship, or has he just put it all to rest and go, well, I'm going to go for this? That's the interesting thing. What's his mindset like at the moment? He's 10.4 seconds off Trakan. He's got to weigh that up and see if it's worth the risk.
Well, given his experience, I think you could be right what you're surmising there, Braxy. Yeah, Trakan, he's just done a 106.9, which was just about the same as his Super Chrono time, which put him on the middle of the front row. Blue flags are out again, and as the local rider Chu gets ready to be lapped for the second time, Trakan coming up behind him.
Gets well out of the way, well done.
Out of the way, yeah,
and
good.
Hopefully he gets out of the way as Zakaria there, because he might have a late race surge to try and bridge the gap to Trakan there, because of the fact that, like you just said, they're coming up on the lap traffic, and it's going to be very critical in his final 5 minutes.
Yeah, and Trakan has stretched out his lead now to 3.3 seconds. That's he's taken another half a second out of Zakaria. Lewis Cornish keeping station behind. I think you could be right, Braxy, what you were just surmising, that he's got a healthy championship lead, and he could just be saving it, take third place, and then pull the stops out again for the second moto and try to get.
Well, it hasn't really made that much difference to Zakaria there. There's still 6.5 seconds between those two, and he's got 6.5 laps to go. That's roughly about 6 laps plus the 2 on top of that.
Yeah, 1 minute pretty much equals 1 lap. So yeah,
and they're already lapped up to position number 6. So we just saw that Pedro, the Indonesian guy, was back there in 7th. He was just lapped then. So just showing the pace of this leading trio at the front, led by Trakan Tan Tong, the 2015 champion. And I'll tell you what, there'll be one very interested spectator in Kuala Lumpur at the moment. Will be Gabit Saleh there, the defending champion, who's out with injury at the moment. This is a blessing in disguise for him, and I think he might be getting a bit fitter as he sits there in front of his television watching the live streaming. Yeah. All the best to you back home, Gabit.
Absolutely, Gabit. Look forward to seeing you back again soon, my friend.
And now
laps another rider.
11 laps down with 5.5 minutes to go before the 2-lap board comes out to bring this one to a close. It's going to be interesting to see and have a chat to our top 3 after this race, especially Lewis Cornish, and I'm sure he'll cop it on the chin and just say, well, it was my fault. I was just trying too hard too early. And a best time of a 106.9 just for Trakan as well.
Yeah, that was his Super Chrono time, so he's right on the pace. He's looking smooth and fast. He doesn't look like he's really pushing it, but he is. You can see it in the lap time.
That's what is smooth is fast. If you don't look like you're going fast, if you look like you're getting all out of shape, you're losing that by getting out of shape.
That's right, and he's fairly young. I think he's 23. He had his birthday the day after the last round in Indonesia, but he's got a lot of racing experience.
So Zakaria 5.2 seconds in front of Cornish. So it's coming down But time is running out as our leader, Trakan Tantong, the Thai rider. Has he got the good fortune with him at the moment? They say in racing you make your own luck.
Yeah, they do indeed, and we've pretty much, we could say, got 6 laps to go in this Moto 1 of the 3rd round of the FIM Asia Supermoto Championship 2017. As we watch the smooth, elegant lines of Trakan Tantong, the race leader, as he comes across to complete another lap. That's number 77, about to be lapped by 2nd place man, Kairi Zakaria.
Yeah, that's Hazroy Osman. We thought he might have had a bit up his sleeve this weekend, but obviously he's not really feeling comfortable with this racetrack.
No, the first 3 riders are giving the rest a masterclass, we have to say. They are really at full international, top international level, these 3 riders.
Now, I think if Lewis hasn't, Lewis Cornish hasn't settled for 3rd, there's, I know he'll be trying hard, but there's still just under 5 seconds difference between Zakaria in 2nd and Cornish in 3rd. And does he make that charge? To try and make up 5 seconds in just under 5 minutes is a big, well, it's not out of the range, but a big ask, particularly with the lap times that Zakaria are putting in.
It's within his range, but I think the risk is probably not worth taking when you take into account the position in the championship. In the back of his mind will be, what does he need to do to get on the top step of the podium, which will be, of course, decided by aggregate results over the 2 motos.
Trakan yesterday was saying that he was hearing sounds in the engine that he wanted to get fixed before he pulled out. And we all know that when you're leading a race and there's a couple of laps to go, the riders are hearing things. They get hallucination sounds in their brain of things going wrong with a motorbike. And you want Trakan will be staying there. Come on, old girl, let's just get this one to the end and see if we can take a victory for the first time in 2017.
Yeah, it will be indeed. This is the 2015 champion. He's a very popular character in the paddock. He's quite understated considering what a class rider he is. But he thinks a lot about what he does. He's an intelligent rider, and he's certainly made the most of the break that Lewis Cornish gave him when he crashed on the halfway around the dirt section.
It probably took him half a lap or so, or even longer, to actually comprehend the fact that Lewis was behind him after following him all weekend, and to think, wow, how did that happen? He's been inch perfect and putting the bike everywhere he wanted to on this one, but proving again when the race starts, it all changes.
Yeah, absolutely right. And Trakan, he won the 2015 championship. I've lost count of the number of championships he's won in Thailand, which includes Supermoto in Thailand as well as Supercross and Motocross. So he knows what to do in this position. I think we just need the, yeah, there we go. And on lap 15, Trakan stretched his lead out steadily. It's 4.7 seconds now.
Well, I reckon Lewis hasn't given up, as we are saying. Now he's only, what, three seconds exactly behind Zakaria. But there's only about 2:10. If we haven't seen a lap time of Lewis Cornish for a while, if he's maintaining that high 66 compared to the low 67s of Zakaria, there might be a slight chance that Lewis might inherit 2nd position and pick up a few more vital championship points. But the man leading the way, the man of the moment that looks like he's set for his first win of 2017, is our 2015 champion from Thailand, Trakan Tantong. He's looking good at the moment, 27 seconds before the 2-lap board comes out.
Yeah, and he's taken another half a second out of 2nd place man, Kairi Zakaria, on that last lap. But I think you're right, Braxy. Lewis is just about within reach of 2nd place. Whether his, I guess his lap board will have told him the situation, because he'll be thinking if he can finish 2nd in this race and then escape in Moto 2, he could once again stand on the top step of the podium on the basis of aggregate results.
So we've got 2 laps to go. 2 laps, 2.4 kilometres of this CHANGHUA K1 go-kart track come Supermoto track here in this beautiful part of Taiwan. And is the man of the moment going to do it? A 106.9. So he's been sub 67 second for the majority of this race. So the consistency of the young Thai rider is second to none at the moment.
Yeah, so it's a very, very good race pace. Even as he's on the last 2 laps, he's got a comfortable lead. He's still pushing really hard, and I think that's probably the right thing for him to do, because it helps him keep his focus and not think of it too much about approaching the last lap or how big his lead is now, which is 5.8 seconds over second place man, the Malaysian Khairi Zakaria.
Yeah, but look at that, 1 second difference between Zakaria and Lewis in third position.
Yep, I think this definitely going to be a gripping last lap, as Lewis sets his sights on second place.
And we just saw behind there, I think in the clouds of dust, that Cornish is right onto the rear pipe, the exhaust pipe of Zakaria at the moment. But take nothing away from our leader, Trakan Tantong from Thailand. He looks set. He's got 1 and a little bit laps to go. He's got 1 minute and 7 seconds before he can claim his first win of 2017. Hold it all together, Trakan. Don't let the nerves get to you. He can slow it right down at the moment if he needs to, but he's got 4.8 seconds over Zakaria. Where is Lewis in the run of things at the moment as the last lap board comes out?
Yeah, I think Trakan's let the pace come off a little bit. It's the gap between him and Zakaria in second place came down a bit.
See if he does the triple. No, he does the double in. So you're right, he slowed it right down as he goes past our Chinese rider to put another lap on him.
He needs to bring it home, but he also needs to put in a good time when the aggregate results are.
Here he comes. He's got about 400 metres to go. Up the short straight, into a hairpin, up again. But Lewis Cornish, 0.8 of a second off second position at the moment. Is Zakaria going to hold on to second?
Yeah, we're watching the race leader at the moment. What we want to see also is the who's going to triumph in this battle for second position.
There's the checkered flag. He puts it on the back wheel. A big hand off the bars in victory for Trakan Tantong from Thailand.
What a classy
taking the win in race number 1 of the third round of the FIM Supermoto Championship. And just seeing who gets second place. Zakaria by 0.7 of a second over Lewis Cornish there. So close and yet so far for our championship leader.
Yeah, classy win by Trakan Tantong. That'll make a lot of people very happy. Not only back in his home country of Thailand, but he's a very popular rider in throughout Asia. And Khairi Zakaria, he did very, very well to hold on to that second place from the charging Englishman, Lewis Cornish.
Yeah, he won't be a very happy man, but at least he salvaged some vital points. You've got to take the positives out of the setbacks, that's for sure. And he fought his way back for third position, which is a good 16 points in the championship, I do believe.
Yes, indeed.
And I think he can afford to drop a few points, seeing his main rival, Muhammad Habibullah, or as it popularly known as Gabit Salih, is sitting at home nursing his injuries. But talk about the pain might have just dissipated for Gabet back there in KL at the moment, as he saw Trakan Tantong take out race number 1 of the third round.
Yeah, magnificent performance. He did everything he needed to do and a little bit more to take that win. Great credit to Trakan Tantong. He's going to be very happy with that. It will have given his confidence a boost, and it could give him a few tenths as well. As when we get into Moto 2, he's going to have just that little bit more belief. He's got plenty of belief there as he's on the balance point. Very nice wheelie. Very happy for Trakan.
And confidence, or winning breeds confidence, and great to see. And it's good for the series, you know. Not taking nothing away from Lewis Cornish. He's been in dominant form, but you know, it livens the series up a bit, gives these guys a bit more inspiration, say, hey, he's not unbeatable. He can make mistakes just as much as we can.
Yep, absolutely right. And I know in looking at the rest of the places there, I noticed Naoto Takayama and Takashi Sasaki, the 2 Japanese riders, filled the 4th and 5th places. So they went pretty much to form. Takashi Sasaki started from 6th. He was last in Super Chrono because he crashed on his outlap, I think, during the session and damaged his bike. So here we can see the results. First 3 we've been talking about. 4th place Naoto Takayama from Japan, his compatriot Takashi Sasaki in 5th place, and Singapore's Hazroy Osman in 6th position. And then we've got Indonesian Pedro Wuna, the sole Indonesian representative this weekend. He's in 7th place, ahead of the 2 Taiwanese riders, Li Wei in 8th position and Lin Chin Pei in 9th position, and the Hong Kong rider Sung Tong filling out in 10th place.
Yeah, it's 2 laps down, but just showing the the domination of the Thai, the Malaysian and the English rider. In 11th position from Taiwan we had CHANGHUA K, and then the couple of wildcards from Taiwan rounding out the field as well. And they would have got an education and probably learned a few things in that previous 22 laps. But what a race and what a boost to the series to see the young Thai guy come through and take his first win for the year.
And of course that means, because the finishing positions determine the grid for Moto 2, that puts Strachan in pole position. And getting that good start, because Cornish is so fast through that first section, is going to be all important. As the drinks come round, water of course.
We need a bit of water.
That,
I think we're feeling a bit dusty after that one, but what a great race. And who would have thought on the second lap was it? Yeah, second or third lap that Cornish made that. Well, you'd have to say that's his first mistake of the year, and it could prove to be a costly mistake, or the other way, it could be just a little minor setback for the guy.
Well, that's right. Well, Lewis, as we know, he's a lovely lad, and he's an open book. He'll tell us exactly what happened, and he'll blame himself, and he'll note it down mentally, and he'll make sure he doesn't do it again.
Very much so. So, what a way to start our first international motorcycle race here in Taiwan, with a dramatic opening leg, and yet take nothing away from Trikhan Tantong, who inherited the lead. Zakaria pushed through into 2nd position. Cornish dropped back to 5th at one stage before he remounted. But Tantong, he took the opportunity with both hands, picked the ball up, as they say, and ran with it, and no one was going to get near him. And it's like you said, and we both said a couple of times, a great boost to his confidence for the rest of the series, and particularly for race number 2 later on here this afternoon.
Yeah, boy, are we looking forward to that.
And thanks again to our major sponsors, Malaysia Major Events, FIM Asia Super Sports, and also E+ Global, who have been the main instigators of getting this championship up and running. And I'm sure the people of Taiwan and Dr. Jung, the president of the CTMSA, will be quite happy to see that this is unfolded here in his own backyard.
Yeah, what a start.
So the dust has settled, the nerves are coming down, and we might take a short break, and I might head down if I get a chance to have a chat to our top 3 place getters and maybe one of the wild cards as well. But we'll be back with more action, which is set to unfold here at the 3rd round of the FIM Asia Supermoto Championships at CHANGHUA very soon.